All right, let's get to business.
Oh, yeah. So it's the final mix.
It's the final mix, episode 2. Thank you guys for joining us this time. And let's start off with asking, how did you get down to St. Pete?
How did I get down to St. Pete?
How did this whole thing fucking start? Because it really started with you. So.
Yeah, that's true. Which I never thought about that. I never thought that, we kind of came to St. Pete. Well, I didn't know what the fuck St. Pete was, because the one time that I came down here was in, so I moved down here in 2020. Wait, no, because COVID-19.
What happened in 2020?
No, bro. I had to move here in 2021.
No, I thought you moved here. You were down here during COVID.
No. Well, okay, so COVID-19, right, didn't hit us until 2020.
Yeah, it didn't hit.
In March.
America.
Yeah. But then me and Austin had our place. Mm-hmm. And then in December, I left to Louisiana.
Right.
So that's 2020. So 2021, when I came back.
Oh, okay.
I came back to St. Pete. So it was since 2021 that I came here.
Okay. That makes sense. That checks out.
That's crazy. So anyway, 2021, COVID happened. And then I was like, yo, I'm not making any money in Spring Hill. I got to get out of here. And then that's when me and my girlfriend, we were like, we should just leave. We should just get out here. And then I don't know why we picked St. Pete. I think, you know what? It was because Tampa was we knew Tampa was too expensive. And St. Pete.
Yeah, that was before all the prices shot up.
Yeah, St. Pete wasn't as expensive because I got a 2-bedroom. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. The first Marisol. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. Decent apartment.
Right.
Had a pond. I had a bunch of ducks in the pond.
A bunch of ducks.
That was, I think, $1,200 when we first started. $1,200. Imagine that now. Yeah, right. So anyway, moved to St. Pete, and it was just because it wasn't as expensive as Tampa, and we could go to the beach and all that stuff. So it was so much fun.
They have much better beaches for sure.
So, but before that, the only time that I came to St. Pete was because of Daniel. And when Daniel had his place in St. Pete, and he was like, "Oh, everybody move over here."
Yeah, that was a while ago. That was 2018, something like that.
Yeah, bro. That was a while ago. And I didn't know what St. Pete was. So when we went, we were at that time, I think we weren't even old enough to drink. I think we were 2018, 2019. Yeah, I was and we went to downtown St. Pete. And downtown St. Pete, you can't get into anywhere unless you're 21.
Yeah.
So we walked around and I was like, this place is kind of dead. And it looks all right, but it's not really a lot going on.
It's dead if you're under 21.
Yeah. Well, we were just walking around thinking about how the layout in my mind back then is completely different how it is now. Because, I know the area now.
Yep.
But anyway, that's how, we got into St. Pete. I got into St. Pete. So I moved here, chilled here for a year or two, just trying to talk to people and get us gigs and stuff, which we talked about in our previous videos and stuff like that. But yeah, that's how I came to St. Pete, because I was thinking about going to Gainesville.
Right, because I was up there.
Because you were in Gainesville.
And Alec was too.
And Alec was there. And then I'm like, it was just never right. It was never.
Yeah, no, Gainesville, I enjoy Gainesville, and it's just, you start your life there and then you move somewhere else. And there are other people, there's a lot of people that stay in Gainesville. But yeah, it's a college town. It's a younger person's town. They really cater the whole city kind of around the college. So I don't know. That's my opinion on it anyway. There's a lot of other people might differ, but there's a lot of people who are Alachua County residents, ACRs.
It's hot as fuck.
But it's hot as fuck.
Yeah, you're in the swamp.
Yeah, dude. It's hot. It's humid.
Beaches.
It's the weirdest weather there, because in 2017, I remember my first year there, both 2017 and 2018, we had hottest super hot muggy summers. We had Hurricane Irma, and I think the next year we had another hurricane blow through. And then when the winter came around, we had frost. I had a scooter at the time, and I would come out every day. I'd fucking come out, and my seat would be frozen, and my ass, I'd have to sit on it,
Your
and
ass is just stuck to the seat.
It's just stuck to the seat. And I'm like, I'm in Florida. What the absolute fuck is going on?
I got ass ice.
I got ass.
I got ass ice.
Usually it's swamp ass. Now it's ice ass. What the fuck? So yeah,
there's so many scooters in Gainesville. That was the craziest thing. A lot of my friends from Philly make fun of me because I never parallel park. Because when you don't live in a city, you in Spring Hill, it's just park on my fucking yard
on
over
my
there.
lawn. Yeah,
just go up the hill and park up there. And then it's like when we were in Gainesville, so much parallel parking. And then like in St. Pete too, there's some parallel parking, but it was just fun. It was one of the things I'm like, there's a lot of parallel parking. There's a lot of scooter parking, and that was that.
Gainesville was also the first place that I saw roundabouts in Florida. I never saw a roundabout in Florida until I went to Gainesville. And I mean, there's probably like roundabouts in like the bigger cities, but like
like a big roundabout.
And there's some in St. Pete now too. But I think they're kind of a newer thing in America too. Like I don't think we had those for a long time. But
how long have roundabouts been a thing?
I don't know.
Before roundabouts,
they're weird. Roundabouts are a weird.
What about before
thing.
Roundabouts? It was just triangles. It was just triangles.
There were 4-way intersections. You didn't have to go around in circles. What's going around in the circle?
Yeah, I don't know. It just looks like
2-lane roundabouts. What is that about? What is a 2-lane roundabout?
Like the one in Clearwater when you go.
Oh,
the amount of crashes that I've seen.
Bro.
It is a 3-lane.
It's fucking crazy.
Is it 2-lane?
Actually, you're right.
It is a 2-lane.
That is I don't know. I can't remember.
It's a 2-lane.
It's a 2-lane.
Trust me.
That was probably the first roundabout I ever experienced. Now that you're
terrifying
telling me about it, but I didn't even see it as that because it's huge. It's like a big one.
It's a big one, and like they change the rules on you constantly. Like from working on Clearwater Beach and taking that roundabout every day, they changed the rules recently. Where like the outer lane is supposed to go these ways, and then the inner lane you just stay in here until you get off that way, and then they switched it. They like reversed it.
I mean, it's not like huge though. I mean, there's only 3 ways that you can go. So
I guess it's. I think we should ban all roundabouts.
All right. That's it.
Or we make them 6-laners.
We're arresting people that don't listen to music, and we're banning roundabouts.
Yeah, this is what it's about. Making a difference. So anyway,
St. Pete.
That's how I ended up in St. Pete. That's how we decided on it. And then I was like, hey, there's kind of a music scene down here.
Right.
What is that music scene? I did not know because at that time we were doing hip hop because in Gainesville.
Yeah.
Which you want to talk about that a little bit about like.
Sure, I'll go into Gainesville.
Well, yeah, what the fuck is the scene in Gainesville?
It's always changing because it's a college town. So like Tampa has an established scene because the city of Tampa is big, and it's also changing. I mean, the scene is always changing everywhere, but for the most part, like we were saying, Tampa is like more bass music and like more commercial house, and like St. Pete is more house music and more specifically like minimal and like tropical and some Latin stuff like that, Latin house. So the Tampa side also has like the university area, and like it has University of Tampa and it has USF. So there's 2 colleges driving the scene, but also like an established scene with like established downtown areas and like people who are trying to keep it more like a gatekeeping thing. So like you kind of have this weird like what am I trying to fucking say?
You have this weird
this thing like everything just kind of comes together, and whatever happens. Like there's people who aren't students running student nights, and there are people who are students that don't want anything to do with the student lifestyle that are trying to like hop in on like the more mainstream like downtown scene. Like I don't know, it's weird, but there's a spot for everyone, which is nice.
Yeah,
that's a nice part about it. And and then there's also like Ybor like with the Ritz, and like the Ritz is a huge venue, so then that's like more commercial, like really commercial dance music and like bass music and stuff.
Sure.
So and TK Lounge is also really big, and that's more like underground bass music and underground house and stuff. So I don't know. There's a bunch of really cool spots in Tampa. Gainesville is not like that. Gainesville, there is like
it's weird, bro.
There are the venues and the small bars and stuff catered to the residents of Gainesville, and that's all, and they stay separate kind of from the college scene. Like they could be right next door to a college bar, but you can tell it's like an ACR bar.
Yeah.
And then
ACR,
Alachua County resident. Yep. So
interesting.
ACR, and then so there's the bars and the clubs that are catered towards the college scene, and then there's a downtown and a midtown section, and they're like a mile apart from each other. And the midtown is pretty much exclusively college because it's right across the street from the university.
Oh, okay.
And so that's like where most people, when they're college DJs, that's where they're DJing at. They're either DJing frat parties and like campus parties, or they're DJing midtown. And then there's the people that branch out to go downtown, and that's usually like the upperclassmen and the graduate students. And like the people who might have like a little bit more money, or like they want to get away from the the Midtown like
It's a
college
whole
scene.
hierarchy.
Yeah, no, there for sure. Like there's
That's
two.
crazy.
Yeah. So string keeper, whatever, was trying to more go into the downtown scene because that's more like where a lot of people were trying to make their names as like artists. Like if you were what we were trying to do in St. Pete, you know what I mean? That was if you weren't just trying to ride the college wave and you were trying to actually make something of yourself as an artist and like bring people from surrounding areas and promote like more professionally like that, then you were in probably more of the downtown scene. And so that's what I was trying to get into, and I did pretty well for myself.
Bro. You did pretty good.
Myself.
You were pretty busy when I would come up there because I would drive up there. There was a time where it was frequent.
Yeah.
And I was doing that nice little 2.5 hour drive.
God, yeah, when you were down here and I was up there in 2021, those were tough times.
That was tough. It's like, all right.
And that's when we realized something's got to change. I either got to go down there or you got to come up there.
Yeah.
And I was done with college. So
it was just like, I don't want to, neither one of us wants to live in Gainesville forever.
There's just kind of like a time limit because, every year there are new students, but every 4 years there's a whole new cycle of students, you know, like, there's like their year classes. So if you aren't going on to graduate school, then you're leaving. And if you are moving on to graduate school, you're probably not like in the scene like that because you're focusing on graduate school.
You got to constantly change. You got to constantly like go with the music. So it's like,
yeah, like right now they're really, because I just did a show. It was like the Pike Hawaiian show for spring last year, like I think it was like March or April or something like that. And maybe it was more recent than that. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, within the last 4 or 5 months, they had It's Murph there as their headliner. I don't know if you know who that is, but he's pretty big in the dance community. No. But he threw down, and like the opening DJs were throwing down like UKG, which was really crazy to me that they were throwing like garage or fucking a frat show, but they were doing like, 130s, 140s, minimal tech.
Interesting.
They were like, when I was there, it was
Not
all
even.
fucking like tech house, bro step, Fisher every night, like
bro step.
What's
bro step?
Dubstep, like really commercial.
But just for the bros?
Dubstep just for the bros. Like, what you would think is being played at a frat party. Like when you think of dubstep at a frat party, that's bro step.
Interesting.
That's why it's called bro step. That's why it's called bro step.
Yeah. We should make some bro step now.
We can make some bro step. I'm trying to think of like who really fits that bro step category. Because I don't. Yeah, that's one way to put it.
Is that how good?
Yeah, I don't know. Like Steve Aoki, I think is kind of fits in the bro step a little bit, and like just
the cake guy.
Yeah, the cake guy. I don't know. Like just when you think of like stereotypical commercial dubstep music, a lot of times bro step comes to mind. You might not know that's what it is. A lot of people aren't familiar with that term.
So,
and I'm not the best person to explain it. But
whenever I think of like a frat house party, I always think of the Pursuit of Happiness remix. I'm on the pursuit of happiness.
I don't know what that's actually. I don't know what genre of music that is.
It's David Guetta. That's what it's like.
It's kind of like electro house.
Well,
a little bit.
Well, not, is it or just regular pursuit? I'm on the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the drop. I was.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll look it up later.
Doesn't matter. Anyways,
fuck it.
Gainesville was fun. I made a good mark as a DJ, but I felt like I was more labeled as a technician when I was there because I did
production.
I did production 40 hours a week when I was in college at some points. Like,
bro.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
What is?
That.
Oh, production?
Yeah. Well, you doing 40 hours.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
you thought I was.
I thought you were talking about the fucking Bud Light. I did work myself ragged because I was also trying to pursue our like artistry thing in hip hop, which just kind of wasn't really working, especially post COVID. And
COVID.
Yeah. So
fuck
after
COVID.
we were done with Gainesville, after I made all my connections and kind of did my time in Gainesville, we went down to St. Pete, and we said that like we entered the scene in fall of 22, right? Fall of 22.
It had to be the fall of 2022. Yeah, that we actually started like. Yeah, we actually started
like meeting Gio, going to Club 201, going like trying to show face at all the St. Pete places.
Yeah, bro.
Like, but our first gig was through Gio at 201.
Yeah,
and like the open decks, and like we said, we went into all that on the other video.
Yeah, where we just like new faces. hey, I've been here for like a year and a half and no one has invited me to anything. And then it's like, oh, well, we'll invite you. And then it was like super cool community and all that shit.
Yeah,
so
so
like,
once he started getting like meeting these people, he was like,
then it was like, oh,
come down. And
there's
I was like,
like-minded people here, not just fucking assholes.
Yeah, he was the canary in the coal mine. We were sending him to see what the fuck was going on.
Come back
and
with somebody new.
Yeah, yep. So we figured it out and came down, and the rest is kind of history, you know. At that point.
Now we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Finally doing a podcast.
Finally,
bro. I feel like this is the fucking main shit. So like, we get into St. Pete.
Yep.
Bro, what? It's so funny because like when you live in Florida or you live in Tampa, St. Pete, the bridge.
Oh my god.
The bridge, the Holy Grail, which I think, you know what, if we do a final mix thing here, I kind of want a bridge underneath it now. Like, that bridge is so important to this area.
Bro, it's very symbolic now that you mention it, because a bridge is supposed to unite two things together, right? It's supposed to unite two parties, two areas, two land masses. But this bridge kind of serves as a divider.
Yeah.
It's like a very divisive,
It's like a moat, yeah.
Yeah, it's really fucking
It's
weird,
fucking,
dude. It's
people hate the bridge.
It's not hard to cross it. It's not.
It's not hard.
It only takes like less than 10 minutes.
Or you know what? Take the fucking Gandy. Stop taking
the Howard Franklin, bro.
Yes.
Just take the fucking Gandy.
I never have problems on the Gandy. Just take the fucking Gandy and stop being a piece of shit. Like, bro, it pisses me off. People are like, oh, I guess.
Say hi to the fucking, McDill guys on your way. And like,
it's just crazy how people are just like, oh, I haven't crossed that bridge in 10 years. Ever since my grandfather. Like what the fuck are you it's a bridge, bro. It's not like if this was the year 1886 and we all had to jump in a fucking canoe and go over.
Yep.
Fuck Pete.
This isn't the transatlantic fucking land bridge, bro.
It's not like there's a troll you have to pay. There is a toll, but there's
no troll, just a toll.
Just a toll. The troll's toll.
On the Gandy there's?
Nah.
Is that the Selman Expressway?
Bro.
Is that the Selman Expressway that has
It is. So this is the thing that I've really hated about like tolls nowadays. Mm-hmm. Like now, you don't have to stop and talk to this 80-year-old fucking lady and give her some change. Like at least then I know that I'm getting charged. Right. Now they have the cameras everywhere that like you're just driving and then you're like, oh, I think I'm getting charged for this because you just drive
see like
past
a tiny little sign. You're like,
you're charging me $2 to use this road. That's cool. That's great.
That you already paid with tax money. Like,
yeah, it's stupid. But anyway,
no politics.
No problem.
No politics.
No taxation. So that bridge also is very interesting because on either side of it, you have two different types of music, in my opinion. Now, you know more about this than I do because, like, I label all house music. Right. I don't know minimal and medium and inverted and whatever kind of house.
Room temperature
house. Like big house, small house, mansion, duplex, whatever kind of house.
Every time you add a story, there's just like another synth that you layer on top. Like, I make 4-story house. My house costs $1.5 million.
I make condo house music. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Heard. I got you.
I make music specifically for your mom's basement.
I make basement house. Your mom's basement.
That's what bass house is? That's what bass house is basement house?
Holy shit.
Crack the code, ladies and gentlemen.
Fuck. All right. So what's the difference? Huh?
Between all our friends. What is the difference between Tampa and St. Pete, or between what?
Yeah, I think Tampa and St. Pete, maybe the scene, the music. Like, okay, so when I came to St. Pete, like I said, like not really a rap scene, not really. Like, there's a little
that was
bit,
the biggest thing we were disappointed about.
Because there's little stuff.
But, in Tampa, there's like 1 or 2 places in Ybor, and there's like 1 place in St. Pete, and
it's just people just don't really do rap anymore. Like at least here because of its. There's a lot of clubs that are very hesitant to play rap.
Well, dude, it's really because this kind of ties into the scene of Florida, right? We were talking. I don't know. We were talking about how we wanted to go into that a little bit, and my experience in Gainesville was the same exact thing. And this is really weird coming from like someone who's Hispanic and someone who's white, but like there was a weird kind of almost like racist energy against hip hop in Gainesville, and like we saw it in Tampa and St. Pete a little bit too. And I don't think it's necessarily fully like racial, but it's definitely like we don't want that crowd here.
Yeah.
And you're like that crowd. Like what do you mean? That? Like what do you mean by that?
What
crowd?
do you mean? Say it. What do you mean?
So I don't know. That was the most frustrating thing about Gainesville for me was like how even though there was a really thriving hip hop scene, it wasn't supported really by like the city, and St. Pete and Tampa are the same way.
Well, yeah,
and like
just finding any support here is so weird because there's just like.
But it kind of seems like that all over Florida. And
it's
like,
a Florida thing.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, I think it's a cultural thing in the sense of like Florida doesn't really have an identity.
Yeah,
it really doesn't. Like we had Miami like bass, like that's cool. But like we have like Flow Rider who comes out of.
Well, we have really. I mean,
like,
Florida has rich history, but you got to dig into it. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's not fostered. Everyone who makes it comes out the mud, and so everyone has a really good origin story, and of course, you can make anyone look good. Yeah. You dig hard enough, and you bring up everything from the area, and you make anyone look like they had struggle growing up, and most people did, but it's just like. It's weird that there's so much struggle and like there's no like support or community.
Yeah,
like,
it's everyone for themselves, or it's also like everyone's just also so busy. When people do want to collab, it's so hard to like collab. Everyone's so busy working like 3 jobs or whatever the fuck. But also, I will say, at least what Florida had, ran the SoundCloud scene.
Oh, fuck.
Ran the fucking SoundCloud.
And I think that's a good like kind of symbolic, or like a metaphor.
Fuck on me. Yeah.
No, Florida did. We ran the SoundCloud scene. That was because it was the best and easiest way for people to come up and like come out the mud and show like, hey, I'm fucking here. Like, I don't know who else is with me or like who else the fuck, but here's my shit. Listen to it. And a lot of people blew up that way.
Yeah, because you have Kodak, you had X, you had Denzel Curry. Who else is from Florida? Lil Pump is from Florida,
Lil
right?
Pump.
I think he was just at the Jake Paul fight. But anyway,
was he really? Oh, that's cool.
He was there. Yeah, he was there. He was with the Hawk Tua girl.
Hawk Tua was at the fucking Jake Paul
Bro, they were sitting
fight?
next to each other.
I watched most of that fight, and I did not see them post like
they were
people on.
They were like sitting next to each other. Like,
I saw Hulk Hogan, but I didn't see anybody else really.
We need to make our Hawk Tua
remix. I'm not. By the time we make it, it's gonna be fucking over, which is fine with me. It's already
just so quick now.
Way
Everybody's
too
so quick.
Fucking long now.
But anyway, back to the main point is like St. Pete house scene or EDM or techno, whatever you want to call it, versus Tampa.
Okay.
Thoughts?
So yeah, kind of what I was saying before. Like Tampa is more commercial. I think everyone will agree with me that Tampa is more commercial, and St. Pete is more underground and focused on like the identity of a collective sound.
Yeah.
When I talk to people in St. Pete, just like throwing events, and when they're curating their lineup, they're very specific about creating a vibe and like having an appropriate opener, an appropriate direct support, and like an appropriate headliner, and someone to play after the headliner, closer. Like they want the night to flow, and they're like everyone's very specific about that. Tampa. A lot of people are just throwing shit at a wall, seeing what sticks, giving a lot of opportunities. Like I would say there's an equal amount of opportunities between St. Pete and Tampa, but I think they're easier to find in Tampa because they might just be happening more often, or there's just more like maybe there's just a bigger density of people, so there's more events. But it just seems like I've had more opportunities to play open decks in Tampa than in St. Pete, just in recent years, the last 2 years. And the house is harder. The bass house is harder. They play bass house. They don't even play bass house really in St. Pete.
No.
Unless it's like a show at the warehouse or something. And that's, there's a lot of people starting like Renegades, like smaller events and doing pop-up shit. Like there was a Coochie Couch pop-up the other day that I went to. I was only able to catch like the last hour of it, but yeah, like I don't know. There's a really cool underground community scene in St. Pete that thrives around just the more minimal genres, I would say.
Yeah.
Or there's people coming up doing like techno stuff too, which is pretty cool. But a lot of the big St. Pete DJs, like I think immediately of like Jay Crusoe, like most of his stuff is like minimal to like medium room house, and he's probably made the most traction in the shortest amount of time. I mean, I'm sure he's got a shitload of hard work behind him. I'd love to have him on the podcast to talk about it, but he's doing what we want to do and what a lot of people want to do, and a lot of people look to him, and he's very supportive in the St. Pete and the Tampa scene. But I think he's more St. Pete, if I'm not mistaken, and he's getting booked in Tampa because Tampa is trying to bring people across the bridge.
Yeah.
And they want to tap into that more like minimal house scene, because ironically the minimal underground sound is what's becoming more mainstream and what a lot of people are producing through like more like 130s, 140s BPM. I forget what that shit's called. Like, I don't know. There's Speed House, but that's like more like 150s, 160s. I don't know. It gets exhausting talking about a lot of these things, because everyone has a different interpretation of it too. Like, and I'm no fucking expert on it. I'm still learning myself. But
yeah, because there's people out there who are like professional categorizers.
Yeah, well, even a lot of people who are like breaking barriers in these genres, like Nori introduced me, not introduced me, but like he told me about this guy named Coulter, and Coulter is like really, I mean, when I think of like minimal house, I think of him, and I don't know how big he is, but I know that a lot of people in the minimal house scene look to him, and like he's setting the tone for certain, like he's influencing the culture. Justin J is doing the same thing. He's like someone who really looks deep into like European culture and like looks deep into a lot of different aspects of dance music, and he tries to combine things and break boundaries and like expose American audiences to more like European sounds and stuff like that.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and like
that's
even
a good little time.
like Trippy Squad at the Benz, their guys are really into like digging deep into the genre.
Yeah.
Crate digging, even like into vinyls and stuff like that. And I don't know. All three of those guys, well, I guess there's the main three, but they have other people that are affiliated with them, and that's their vibe, is they want to fucking find the coolest sounds from the craziest parts of different countries. And like they were telling me about the stuff coming out of Ukraine, and I was like, out of Ukraine?
Out of
like,
Ukraine.
But they're like, yeah, dude, this crazy like soulful stuff coming out of Ukraine right now. And I was like, that makes sense, like the diversity. And
yeah,
I was talking about that on the last podcast. Like I love, culture creates music. Music is a representation of the culture. So
true.
It makes sense that hardship would birth like meaningful art. But
it is like a very collective mindset. But everybody does have their own little twist. I would say, yeah, like even the collective, like them, like a lot of time they'll do like their Spanish mixes on shit, and I think that's pretty cool. Whenever they do that, whenever Kaiser,
huge Latin influence for them.
Or Julian, like they'll do that shit. It's super dope. I mean, like we tried our own thing, and we're pretty successful with it. With like, all right, let's bring in the live element. Let's bring in like the beat pads. Let's do the guitar, some of that hippie shit. Yeah, some of that hippie shit. We do that, so that works out pretty well.
Yeah. Speaking of which, like, how did we really find our sound?
Oh.